Last year, James Harden had one of the all-time greatest offensive years in the history of the NBA. He led a resurgent Houston Rockets team back into the top half of the Western Conference, and by assuming the Nash role in head coach Mike D'Antoni's offense, led them to a big year that included Coach of the Year honors for D'Antoni. However, it became clear that Harden's usage rate was way too high, and that he was destined to tire in the playoffs using so many of the team's possessions. They relied so heavily on him that the offensive rating would drop 7 points when he went to the bench. But in the playoffs, his offensive effectiveness dropped precipitously as prepared teams could force him into tougher and tougher shots. So it seemed natural that Harden would go to Rockets general manager Daryl Morey and say, "Hey, I need some help handling the ball and creating offense for the team." Enter Chris Paul, who also had to do a lot of heavy lifting in the Clippers offense. While he didn't shoot nearly as much as Harden, he also would pound the ball, control the pace, and then look for the best shot. While the Rockets were technically running D'Antoni's 7 seconds or less offense, the same passing and cutting wasn't there, and a typical possession required Harden to run a pick and roll, force the switch, isolate, and take a tough, contested shot. Or he'd have to run multiple pick and rolls, constantly searching for the opening while his teammates stood around watching until he could sneak by his man and get to the rim. In the playoffs, his shot became even harder to get off, especially when the opponents had time to game plan for him. Chris Paul had toiled on the Clippers for years, having to work equally hard to create shots for his teammates. In the Clippers playoff games, he discovered that time and again, teams were ready to make him work even harder to get his shots off. And it was these moments of stagnation that made it clear they both needed something different to threaten the upper echelons of the Western Conference. So today, Daryl Morey pulled the trigger on a trade that united these two ball-dominant guards in the same backcourt, the likes of which we hadn't really seen since Magic Johnson and Norm Nixon. Let's examine how these two operate off the ball to get a handle on whether this pairing can work when one of them is controlling the offense and the other must move in space and spot up on the perimeter. Back in 2013-14, Chris Paul would play alongside Darren Collison. And while Collison is in no way like Harden, he certainly is a traditional point guard that operates with the rock in his hands. You can see how handoff action here would suck the defense to Harden, and Chris Paul could find seams in the defense to attack the rim. Chris Paul could also play alongside Harden out top, and when the pick and roll is initiated and everyone gets sucked in, CP3 gets a wide open look. The point isn't that he missed, it's that he was open. I think the Rockets offense will look very much like this, with CP3 getting the quick ball screen, and if the shot isn't generated right away, you could imagine Harden penetrating, drawing the defense, and watching the ball find CP3 open for another jumper. More examples of CP3 using the pick and roll to start the offense, but then the ball moving to Collison, who gets a good attack on the catch, and if this is a kick to a shooter, a simple swing to a wide open Paul out top gets him a good look. Another good opportunity for Paul is kicking the ball out top after running the pick and roll, where Harden could then attack, draw the defense from one pass away, and find CP3 open. Again, this would be easy to imagine Harden being ultra aggressive trying to find his shot on the right side. All the while, Paul is looking to spot up on a skip pass that Harden is so good at throwing, revealing another open look from downtown. This action is right out of the D'Antoni playbook. Pistol on the left wing, and if that shot and drive is smothered from Harden, another pick and roll would materialize, and another wide open shot from CP3 against a bent out of shape defense. Picture Austin Rivers as James Harden here, and it would be fun to see the CP3 dance into the lane, kick out to Harden, and then force the help one pass away, opening the wide open corner three for Paul. Without question, Chris Paul and James Harden are two of the highest IQ players in the league today. And there's a place to learn how to play the game of basketball just like them, and it's called Point Guard College. They have camps all around the country that teach you how to think the game. Once you master the why, you can unleash your inner LeBron, Durant, or Steph Curry in an instinctual way, taught with their excellent progressive teaching methods. Point Guard College runs over 100 camps in 30 states, so find one nearest you and separate your game from your competition. Now, let's look at James Harden off the ball. Notice how he has no problem making the early up-court pass to an open teammate, and then finds the open area on the perimeter to receive the pass off the drive and knock down the three ball. On this quick pick and roll, the switch occurs, and when Harden can't find the shot off the ISO, picture him snapping his pass to CP3, who can instantly break down the whole defense on the drive and easily find Harden back out top for a wide open three. This pistol action would be perfect for Harden and CP3. Harden does a quick pitch before setting the first of a double ball screen and then finding the opening when the defense gets drawn to the ball. This pass would be easy for Chris Paul to make. CP3 coming off a pitch into a handoff with Harden lifting on the weak side? Well, this is their opponent's nightmare. So there you have it, sports fans. I think these two will have their work cut out for themselves in the beginning to share the ball handling duties. And I imagine you'll see some issues and frustration the first 2 months of the season. But if they can smooth out those rough patches, it'll make the Rockets that much more dangerous with these two playing off of each other, especially if they get tons of space when surrounded by shooters. Is Daryl Morey finished? Not by a long shot. So we'll have to wait and see what other pieces he'll add to this team. But the first one was a doozy, and I know I'm excited to see how it's all going to work. Sports fans, to see more of our great NBA content and analysis, make sure to hit the subscribe button, but also click the bell and adjust your settings so you can get an alert the second our videos drop. Because trust me, you're going to want them hot and fresh. You in?